You are not safe where you are right now. If you keep living inside the identity that doubts, delays, and sabotages, your future will collapse into the same cycle again and again. This is not a warning for tomorrow. It is the reality of this moment. Most people will waste their entire life chasing change from the outside in. They will hustle, struggle, and push, only to wake up one day and realize nothing truly shifted. They will try to visualize, to hope, to pray, but they will still be chained to the same identity that is holding them hostage right now. The field is listening. It does not hear your words. It only hears your vibration, your state, your frequency. And if your frequency remains trapped in fear, in waiting, in hesitation, then your dream life will remain locked away in another timeline. Quantum entanglement is not theory. It is one of the most proven and least understood laws of physics. Two particles once linked can affect each other instantly across space and time. Einstein called it spooky action at a distance. But the truth no one tells you is this: your identity works the same way. You are already entangled with the version of you who has everything you desire. The danger is simple. If you do not shift your state now, you will keep broadcasting the same broken signal. You will keep attracting the same stuck outcomes. And every day you delay, the field rearranges itself around the weaker version of you. This is not motivation. This is survival. Your future self is reaching backward right now. The only question is whether you will reach forward. In this video, you will learn how to collapse the identity that is keeping you stuck, and how to jump into the reality where your highest self is already waiting. But the window is narrow, and the time is now. Ask yourself this: have you felt like you are trapped in an invisible loop, replaying the same fears, the same doubts, the same routines? You wake up with the same thoughts, you move through the same patterns, and no matter how much you push, nothing changes. It feels like you are living a movie you never wanted to act in. But here is the shocking truth: you are not just the actor. In this movie, you are the director and you are the writer. And if you keep ignoring this, you will spend your entire life playing someone else's script. Harvard researchers revealed that 95% of your daily thoughts are the same as yesterday. That means if you are not consciously changing, you are recycling your past. Think about that. Every morning you wake up and your brain is running yesterday's code. You believe you are making choices, but in reality, you are repeating habits that have already been programmed. And unless you disrupt the cycle, the future will look just like the past. Now let me tell you about Sarah, a young woman in New York. She woke up every day with a heavy chest, dragging herself into an office job that drained her spirit. She had a dream of opening a cafe, but she kept saying not yet, maybe later, maybe when things are better. She delayed, she doubted, she sabotaged herself. Until one morning she realized the truth. She was the author of her own story. She decided to collapse the identity that only knew hesitation. She began to act from the version of her that already owned the cafe. And within 18 months, she turned that dream into her new reality. Not because of luck, but because she shifted her state and the field rearranged around her decision. So let me ask you directly: how many more mornings will you wake up repeating the same identity? How many more opportunities will you watch slip away because you are waiting for the perfect moment? There is no perfect moment. There is only this one. And the longer you delay, the more you strengthen the signal of the weaker self. This is your warning and your invitation. If you keep choosing the loop will keep choosing you. If you keep choosing fear, fear will keep shaping your timeline. But if you choose to collapse the identity that no longer serves you, everything changes. The question is not whether you are capable. The question is whether you will choose. I want you to feel the urgency in your bones. The field is listening. Right now, it is waiting for the frequency of decision Not words, not hope, not half commitments. Your highest self is alive in this very moment, broadcasting a signal, pulling you forward. Can you feel it? That pull in your chest, that whisper that says, you are meant for more. That is not fantasy. That is entanglement. That is your future self leaking into the present, calling you to step up. So here's what I need you to do. If you feel the truth of this message, if you know deep down you're stuck in a loop that must be broken, act now. Hit like write this. Second, and type the word awaken in the comments. Not later, not tomorrow, right now. This is your declaration to the field that you are ready to step into a new identity. Because if you do not act, nothing changes. And you will know you had the chance, and you walked away. Do not let that happen. Make this the moment you shift. Make this the moment you broadcast a new signal. Your life depends on it. And now the question you must face. Why do you keep attracting the very things you fear the most? Why do the same problems keep repeating as if your reality is wired to mirror your doubts? Stay with me, because in the next section, I will reveal the hidden mechanism that explains it all. The answer is stranger, deeper, and more powerful than you ever imagined. Because your consciousness is the mirror, and the universe is only reflecting what you focus on. This is the hidden law most people never learn. You think life is happening to you, but life is only echoing the vibration you send into the field. Every fear you cling to, every doubt you nurture, every hesitation you allow becomes a frequency that reshapes reality around you. You are not a victim of circumstances. You are the architect of your own reflection. Ask yourself this. Why do certain people rise from nothing, from pain, from impossible odds, and build empires, while others remain stuck in cycles of survival? It is not because they are lucky. It is not because the world chose them. It is because they chose themselves. They understood the secret. Consciousness creates coherence, and coherence shapes destiny. Modern physics has already given us the proof. The observer effect in quantum mechanics reveals that the very act of observing can alter the outcome of an experiment. Reality is not fixed. It bends under the weight of attention. When you focus, you collapse possibility into form. When you shift your state, you alter the code of the timeline you are in. Science calls it the observer effect. You call it life-changing results. And this is where the story of one woman becomes a living example. Oprah Winfrey, born into poverty, raised in chaos, surrounded by abuse. Every condition of her environment screamed limitation. But she carried one thing that no one could take from her. A vision inside her consciousness. A picture of who she was destined to become. She chose to focus on that vision with such intensity that the field had no choice but to rearrange. And today, Oprah is not only one of the wealthiest women alive, she is one of the most influential voices in the world. She did not fight her way into success by force. She shifted her identity, tuned her consciousness, and the mirror of the universe reflected it back. So here is the question. What reflection are you creating right now? When you look at your life, what you see is not random. It is a feedback loop of what you have believed, feared, and focused on. If you want to change the mirror, you do not smash the glass. You change the image standing in front of it. You and the urgency is real. Every moment you delay, you broadcast the same frequency. Every day you remain trapped in doubt, you reinforce the weaker version of yourself. The field is not waiting patiently. It is reacting instantly. And right now, it is reflecting exactly who you have chosen to be. Not with your words, but with your state. Not with your wishes, but with your vibration. Let me ask you, what would happen if you stopped focusing on fear and started focusing on possibility? What would shift if you released hesitation and embodied certainty? This is not abstract philosophy. This is a law of reality, as consistent as gravity. You are not separate from the outcome you desire. You are entangled with it. And the bridge between you and that outcome is the frequency of your consciousness. Think about Oprah again. She did not wait until she was rich to see herself as abundant. She did not wait until the world celebrated her to carry the identity of someone worthy. She embodied that state long before the mirror reflected it back. She became before she received. And that is the code. So let me turn the mirror on you. Are you willing to declare yourself the creator right now? Not tomorrow, not when the conditions are perfect, not when someone finally gives you permission. Right now, because the moment you choose, the field shifts. The universe bends to your frequency, and the reflection changes. This is why I'm calling you to act. If you believe even a spark of truth in these words, do not sit still. Type in the comments the phrase, "I am the creator." Do it now, not later. This is your signal to the field. This is your declaration of power. And hit the like button as your proof of decision, as your anchor in this new frequency. This is not about supporting me. This is about anchoring yourself. About saying to the universe, I choose. I act. I shift. Because if you do not declare it, if you do not embody it, the mirror will keep showing you the same old image, the same old doubts, the same old fears. And years from now, you will look back and wonder why nothing changed. But you are not here for nothing. You are here because something inside you knows the truth. You have felt the whisper of your higher self. You have felt the pull of a reality where you are already powerful, already free, already abundant. And that reality is not waiting for someday. It is waiting for you to tune in right now. So here's the cliff you stand on. Either you leap into the role of creator, or you fall back into the cycle of victimhood. There is no middle ground. The field does not reward hesitation. It responds only to coherence. And coherence begins with one decision. The decision to see yourself as the creator. So I ask you again, what is the image you want to see reflected? What is the signal you want to broadcast into the field? The choice is yours. And the time is now. Because if consciousness is the key, the next question becomes unavoidable. If the mirror always reflects who you are, then how do you rewrite the program inside your mind? How do you retrain the brain that is addicted to the past? Stay with me, because in the next section, we will uncover the science of reprogramming your habits and beliefs, and the secret to breaking free from the patterns that keep you trapped. You can reprogram your brain the same way people reinstall software. That is the power you carry, whether you realize it or not. Your brain is not fixed. It is not frozen. It is alive. It is plastic. It is rewiring itself every single moment, responding to what you do, what you think, what you repeat. So let me ask you, how many times have you known exactly what you needed to do, yet you delayed? How many times did you say tomorrow, only to wake up trapped in the same hesitation? This is not weakness. This is wiring. Your brain is addicted to what is familiar, even when the familiar is destroying you. But here's the secret. The wiring can change. Neuroplasticity is the scientific proof that your brain is not a static machine. It is a dynamic network of pathways. And when you repeat a new action, when you commit to a new routine, you carve fresh circuits. Every time you show up differently, your neurons fire differently. And neurons that fire together, wire together. Stanford. Researchers discovered that it takes just 66 days of consistent practice to build a new habit so strong it becomes automatic. Not a lifetime, not decades, 66 days. Imagine that. 2 months of deliberate repetition, and you could reprogram the very identity that has been sabotaging you for years. But let me tell you a story. John was a Marine from Florida. After the war, he returned home broken. drowning his nights in alcohol, numbing himself with bottle after bottle. He knew it was killing him. He knew it was erasing his future. But knowing is not enough. Every night he promised himself it would be different, and every night he poured another drink. Until one day he discovered a simple rule, the 2-minute rule. Instead of fighting to quit the old habit, he replaced it with a new one. The moment he felt the urge to drink, he laced up his running shoes. Not for an hour, not for a marathon, just for 2 minutes. Run down the street, run back, catch his breath. But in those 2 minutes, something profound happened. He interrupted the old wiring. He began to carve a new circuit. Day after day, drink after temptation, he chose 2 minutes of running over, 2 hours of drowning, and the brain began to shift. Fast forward. That man who once lived at the bottom of a bottle is now a fitness coach, guiding others to reclaim their lives. John's transformation was not a miracle. It was not luck. It was the science of neuroplasticity embodied through action. He replaced one loop with another, and his brain rewired itself to match the new identity dot. So here is the truth. You are not lazy. You are not broken. You are not doomed to stay stuck. You are simply wired in a certain way, and wiring can be changed. The question is whether you will change it. Let me challenge you. What is the one habit, the one behavior, the one toxic loop you know has been holding you hostage? Is it scrolling mindlessly? Is it procrastinating your dreams? Is it numbing yourself with comfort instead of pursuing growth? You already know what it is, and the field is listening. So right now, claim your shift. Type in the comments the one habit you will replace. Write it down. This is your signal to your brain and to the universe that you are ready to reinstall a new program. Because here is the danger. If you do not disrupt the cycle will devour your future. If you do not choose a new pathway, the old one will drag you deeper until you forget who you could have been. And the more you repeat hesitation, the stronger it wires. Delay is not neutral. Delay is reinforcement. Every time you wait, you make the cage stronger. But imagine this. What if in 66 days you could live inside a new rhythm? What if the things you struggle with today became automatic victories tomorrow? What if your brain became addicted to progress, addicted to growth, addicted to becoming? That is not a fantasy. That is the power of NEUROPLASTICITY. So I will ask you again. Are you ready to reprogram? Are you ready to install a new self? Not next year. Not when life feels easier. No, because the window is open and the choice is yours. This is your invitation to stop being at the mercy of old wiring, to stop saying tomorrow and start carving the new pathway today. And it begins with one small act repeated until it becomes who you are. Because your brain does not care about what you want. It only obeys what you repeat. So take this seriously. Declare it now. If you are ready to install a new program, type in the comments the habit you will replace. Seal it with action and hit the like button as your proof that you are no longer delaying. This is your declaration of choice, your anchor into a new identity. And here is the question that will decide everything moving forward. When the old self pulls at you, when the old wiring screams for survival, when the identity of hesitation begs you to return, will you let it live? Or will you let it die so that you can finally be free? Because the next step is not about habits. It is about the death of the self that refuses to change. Stay with me, because in the next section, we will face the hardest truth of all. To become new, you must bury the old. Yes, you must let your old self die in order to be reborn. This is the truth most people run from. The truth that feels terrifying, yet liberating at the same time. Because as long as the old identity lives, it will drag you back into the same fears, the same doubts, the same patterns that have suffocated your potential for years. Ask yourself this: how many times have you promised change only to collapse back into the same behaviors? How many times did you step forward with hope only to be pulled backward by the weight of who you used to be? That is not failure. That is the survival instinct of your old self. It clings, it resists, it fights to remain alive because it knows that once you release it, everything about your reality will transform. But here is the mystery. The death of the old self is not destruction. It is resurrection. When you collapse the identity that no longer serves you, you make space for the highest version of yourself to rise. Like the forest fire that clears the dead wood, so new life can grow. The burning of the false self is the birth of freedom. Science even confirms this process. Meditation has been shown to reduce activity in the amygdala, the brain's fear center. This means that when you practice presence, when you let go, the grip of fear weakens. The emotional storms that once ruled you begin to dissolve. And in that silence, in that release, you can finally experience life without the chains of your old identity. Let me tell you a story. There was a CEO in New York who built an empire through control. Every deal, every meeting, every decision had to be under his absolute command. On the outside, he looked successful. But inside, his world was collapsing. His family left him. His health deteriorated. His empire began to rot from the inside because his obsession with control left no room for balance, no room for trust, no room for life itself. He attended a Vipassana meditation retreat, 10 days of silence, 10 days of sitting with himself with no distractions, no devices, no control. And in that silence, something shattered. He came face to face with the self he had been clinging to. The self that demanded power, that feared losing, that built walls instead of bridges. And for the first time, he let that self die. When he returned, he was no longer the same man. He was lighter. He was freer. He no longer needed to control every detail. He rebuilt his relationships. He rebuilt his health. And his company began to thrive not through fear, but through trust and vision. He discovered that letting go of the old self was the most powerful decision he had ever made. So, let me ask you directly, what old version of you is still running the show? The fearful one? The doubter? The procrastinator? The perfectionist? The one who clings to control, to comfort, to excuses? If you refuse to let it die, you will be trapped in its prison forever. But the moment you choose to release it, the prison doors swing open. This is not a gentle process. It feels like loss. It feels like death, because a part of you is dying. But that death is sacred. That death is necessary. Without it, you cannot rise. Without it, you cannot step into the identity that is waiting to be born. So here is your invitation. If you are ready to release the self that has been holding you hostage, declare it now. Type in the comments the words "I let go," not tomorrow, not later, now, and hit like to seal your commitment. This is not about me. This is about you creating a public declaration, a frequency, a signal that tells the field you are finished with the old identity. Because every second you delay, the old self grows stronger. Every excuse you make feeds it. Every hesitation you allow is another heartbeat for the version of you that has no place in your future. And you know it. You feel it. You can sense the tension inside of you. The war between who you are and who you could be. This war will not end until one of them dies. So which will it be? Will you continue to nurture the self that sabotages you? Or will you bury it and step into your true power? This is the crossroads. This is the moment of death and rebirth. Understand this. Rebirth is not automatic. It requires choice. It requires courage. It requires you to stand in the fire of discomfort long enough to watch the old self burn away. When you let go of control, when you let go of fear, when you let go of the identity that clings to the past, the field rearranges around a new you, and the mirror of reality begins to reflect a new image. This is the initiation. This is the rite of passage. No one can walk through it for you. You must step in yourself. You must let it die yourself. And you must be brave enough to endure the silence that comes after. Because in that silence, the new identity begins to whisper. The higher self begins to rise. And the future you were born for begins to take shape. So let me challenge you. Do not just listen. Do not just agree. Act. Write "I let go" in the comments right now. Hit like to declare your release. This is not small. This is not symbolic. This is your signal. This is your initiation. Because once the old self dies, a new question emerges. If you let go of who you were, then who will you choose to become? What new identity will you embody? Stay with me, because in the next section, we will uncover the path to choosing and stepping into your highest self. You can become the strongest version of yourself the very moment you decide to live as them. Not someday, not after you achieve success, not when conditions finally line up. The shift happens the instant you embody the identity of your highest self. Ask yourself, what would change if you woke up tomorrow and acted as though you were already the person you dream of becoming? How would you walk? How would you speak? How would you move through the world if you no longer doubted who you were? This is the secret. Embodiment. Not waiting. Not wishing. Becoming. Science proves it. Dr. Amy Cuddy from Harvard discovered that changing your body posture changes your hormones. When you stand tall, expand your chest, and take up space, testosterone rises, cortisol drops, and confidence floods your system. Your physiology rewires your psychology. The way you hold yourself changes the way you feel about yourself. And the way you feel about yourself changes the way the universe responds to you. This is not imagination. This is biology. Your body sends signals to your brain, and your brain broadcasts those signals into the field. So when you move like your highest self, when you act as though you already are them, the field begins to mirror it back. Let me tell you about a young man from Chicago. In high school, he was not special. He was not the tallest, not the fastest, not even the best player on his team. But he carried a vision inside of him. Every single day he trained, ate, and lived as though he were already an NBA athlete. While others partied, he studied film. While others slept in, he ran drills before sunrise. While others saw themselves as kids, he embodied the identity of a professional. 7 years later, that same boy walked into the NBA, not because he waited for someone to discover him, not because he hoped luck would knock on his door, but because he became the version of himself who belonged on that stage long before the stage appeared. And here is where it gets real for you. The only thing separating you from your highest self is your choice to embody them now, not to pretend, not to fake, to embody, to live as though it is already true. Because the field does not wait for the future. It responds to frequency. And frequency shifts the second you do. So let me challenge you. For the next 24 hours, live as though you are already the version you dream of. Do not just think it. Do not just wish it. Act it. Walk differently. Speak differently. Make choices differently. Every detail of your day becomes an anchor for the identity you choose. Because here is the danger. If you do not embody the new self, the old one will keep winning. If you do not act as your highest self now, hesitation will consume you. Doubt will creep back in. And before you know it, another week, another month, another year will slip by with nothing changed. But if you do embody it, If you do live as though it is already yours, the world has no choice but to reflect it. The opportunities align. The people appear. The doors open. Not because magic intervened, but because you broadcasted a new frequency and reality-adjusted dot. So here is your call to action. Right now, type in the comments exactly how you will live as your highest self for the next 24 hours. What will you do differently? What will you change in your behavior today? Write it down and claim it. And hit like as your proof that you are anchoring into this identity. Not later. Now, because this is the truth. You are not waiting for your highest self. Your highest self is waiting for you. And the moment you embody them, you collapse the gap between dream and reality. So let me ask you one final question. When procrastination whispers, when doubt returns, when hesitation pulls at your heart, what will you do? Will you surrender to delay? Or will you rise and embody the version of you that refuses to be held back? Stay with me, because in the next section, we will confront the shadow of procrastination and the enemy of hesitation, and you will learn how to disarm it before it steals your destiny. You must defeat the temptation of instant rewards to claim your future. This is the battlefield you live on every single day. It is not out there, it is inside your brain. And the enemy is subtle, seductive, and relentless. Have you noticed how easy it is to choose comfort now? Even when you know it steals your tomorrow? You know you should study, yet you scroll. You know you should train, yet you sink into the couch. You know you should build your dream, yet you watch it slip away while chasing quick pleasure. This is not weakness. This is wiring. The brain is hardwired to crave immediate rewards. It is called time inconsistency. Your brain values small pleasures, now more than great victories later. This is why procrastination feels so powerful, because your biology is tricking you. It whispers, do it tomorrow, enjoy today. But tomorrow never comes. And every time you give in, you sacrifice your destiny for comfort. But here is the secret. You can hack the system. You can flip the script. By pairing the temptation of instant reward with the habit that builds your future, you rewire the loop. The brain still gets its candy, but only after it earns it. Let me tell you about a student from California. She was drowning in Netflix. Hours of streaming every night, failing her classes, watching her health spiral out of control. She knew she needed to change, but knowing is not enough. Then she discovered temptation bundling. She made a rule. She could only watch Netflix while exercising at the gym. No exceptions. At first it was awkward, but day after day she kept the rule. 6 months later, she had dropped 15 pounds, built unstoppable energy, and passed her exams with confidence. She hacked her brain. She conquered procrastination, not by fighting it, but by rewiring it. So here's the challenge for you. What temptation controls you right now? Is it your phone? Is it social media? Is it endless comfort that eats away your potential? Do not lie to yourself. You know exactly what it is. And the moment you name it, you can weaponize it. Pair it with the habit that will shape your destiny. Because this is not just about productivity. This is about your identity. Every time you choose instant gratification, you reinforce the old self, the weaker self. But every time you delay the candy and invest in the future, you anchor your highest self. This is the war between now and later, between comfort and destiny, between who you are and who you are meant to be. So I dare you. Will you fight back? Will you claim your future by refusing to be a slave to short-term pleasure? Or will you keep bowing down to the cheap rewards that steal your greatness? This is your crossroads. Declare it right now. If you are ready to try temptation bundling tonight, comment yes below. Do not hesitate. Do not delay. Do it now. And hit like as your proof of commitment, your anchor to this decision. This is not a casual choice. This is the line between wasting your life and taking control of it, because here is the danger. If you keep feeding procrastination, it grows stronger. It does not stay neutral. It becomes a monster that devours your time, your energy, your dreams. And one day, you will wake up realizing that the life you wanted is gone, stolen not by failure, but by delay. But if you flip it, if you conquer instant gratification, the field rearranges itself around your new identity. You become unstoppable. You build momentum. You discover that what once felt impossible becomes inevitable. And every victory reinforces the truth. You are no longer a victim of your wiring. You are the master of it. So let me ask you one final question. When the old reality pulls at you, when the gravity of procrastination drags you back, when the weaker self begs you to surrender, how will you respond? Will you let it steal your identity again? Or will you rise and hold fast to the new self you are building? Stay with me, because in the next section, we will confront this exact challenge. How to hold on to your new identity when the old reality keeps trying to pull you back down. You must anchor your new identity through repeated action until it becomes natural. This is the secret that most people ignore. They think change comes from one breakthrough, one decision, one flash of inspiration. But the truth is far more demanding. Change only locks in when you repeat the new self again and again until it fuses into your nervous system. Ask yourself this. How many times have you decided to change, felt powerful for a moment, and then slipped back into the old reality? Why does that happen? Because the old reality always reacts. It pulls you back. It whispers that you are still the same. It surrounds you with reminders of who you used to be. And if you are not anchored, if you are not rooted in repetition, the old self wins. Neuroscience explains this perfectly. Your brain is a network of pathways. The old self is a superhighway of neurons carved through years of repetition. The new self at first is just a dirt trail, and the only way to strengthen that trail into a highway is repetition. Fire the new pattern enough times, and it wires itself in. This is not magic. This is neuroplasticity. But here's the challenge. The moment you commit to a new identity, the old world will test you. It will throw obstacles. It will tempt you with comfort. It will pressure you to quit. And that is why repetition is the weapon. Every time you repeat, you pour concrete into the foundation of your new self. And eventually, it becomes unshakable. Let me tell you a story. There was a teacher in Boston, living paycheck to paycheck, drowning in debt. But instead of surrendering to his environment, he chose a new identity. Every day he acted as if he were already wealthy. He carried himself differently. He spoke differently. He made choices as though he were building an empire, even while he was still struggling. For 3 years, he repeated this embodiment relentlessly. And then it happened. He launched his own academy. He stepped into the financial freedom he had been living in his mind long before it appeared in his bank account. That is the power of anchoring through repetition. At first, it feels fake. At first, it feels forced. But repetition makes it real. Repetition turns pretend into truth. And the field begins to mirror the identity you choose again and again. So let me ask you, are you repeating the old self or the new one? Are your daily actions reinforcing the weaker identity? Or are they pouring strength into the highest version of you? This is not neutral. Every day, every choice, every action is a vote. And reality is counting. Here is your moment of decision. If you believe that repetition equals anchoring, prove it now. Hit the like button as your declaration. And type in the comments, I repeat to anchor. Seal your commitment. Do not wait. This is your signal to the field that you are locking in the new identity. Because here is the danger. Without repetition, transformation dissolves. Without anchoring, the old self reclaims its throne, and the dream you tasted slips through your fingers. But with repetition, the impossible becomes inevitable. You wire yourself into a new destiny. So here is the challenge. For the next week, pick one action your highest self would take and repeat it every day. No excuses, no breaks, no hesitation. Repeat until it no longer feels like effort. Repeat until it feels like breathing. That is when the identity is anchored. And when you anchor it, something extraordinary happens. The old reality stops pulling at you. The new self begins to run on autopilot, and the field responds with synchronicities, opportunities, and momentum that were invisible before. The mirror of reality finally reflects who you have become, not who you used to be. But let me reveal something even more powerful. There is another tool, hidden in plain sight, that can accelerate this process. A tool so ancient, yet so modern, that it can hypnotize your brain into accepting the new identity even faster. It is the art of storytelling. Because when you tell a story, your brain does not just listen. It feels, it believes. It rewires itself as if the story were reality. So let me ask you, do you want to know how to use storytelling to hypnotize your own brain and lock in your new self faster than repetition alone? Stay with me, because in the next section, we will uncover the mystery of narrative and how telling your own story can reshape the very fabric of your identity. Yes, storytelling hypnotizes the brain more powerfully than logic, because logic speaks to the mind, but story speaks to the soul. Logic convinces, but story transforms. And when you tell the right story, your brain does not just listen. It feels, it remembers, it rewires. Ask yourself this. Why do you forget most facts, but never forget a powerful story? Why do speeches fade from memory, but movies and myths live inside you forever? The reason is science. Stories release dopamine, the chemical of attention, and oxytocin, the chemical of connection. That means when you hear a story, your brain bonds with it. It becomes your story. And that is why the stories you tell yourself shape the identity you live. So here is the secret. If you want to transform your life, you must rewrite the story you tell about who you are, not with empty affirmations, not with surface-level motivation, but with a journey. The hero's journey, the spark line, the structures that have moved human beings for thousands of years. The hero's journey is the arc of every legend, a call to adventure, a refusal, a struggle, a death, and then a rebirth into strength. When you frame your life this way, even your darkest moments become sacred. They are not failures. They are thresholds. They are the trials that prove you are the hero of your own myth. The spark line is different, but just as powerful. It shows the tension between the present and the possible. It pulls you between the pain of the old and the vision of the new. And in that gap, the audience feels urgency. Your own brain feels urgency. It cannot rest until the arc resolves. And that resolution is you stepping into your highest self. Let me tell you about a boy from Los Angeles. He was small, quiet, and constantly bullied. Day after day, he walked the hallways in fear, shrinking into the shadows. But instead of collapsing, he began to write. He created a blog called The Hero in the Dark. At first, no one read it, but he kept telling stories of struggle, stories of courage, stories that mirrored the pain he lived and the strength he dreamed of. 2 years later, that boy was standing on a stage as an international speaker. The bullied kid had become the hero, not because his circumstances changed overnight, but because he rewrote his story and the world mirrored it back. So let me ask you directly. What story are you telling about your life? Are you telling the story of a victim who is trapped? Or are you telling the story of a hero who is rising? Are you replaying the sparkline of hesitation? Or are you building the sparkline of transformation? Because this is not entertainment. This is code. Your story is the script your brain follows. If you tell a weak story, you live a weak life. If you tell a powerful story, you live a powerful life. And the field rearranges itself to reflect the myth you embody. Here is your challenge. Write your story. Not tomorrow. Not later. Now. In the comments, declare who you are as the hero of your life. Say it clearly. Claim it with fire. Because when you write it, when you speak it, when you share it, your brain locks it in as truth. And hit like as your declaration, your proof that you are no longer hiding in someone else's narrative. But let me warn you, if you refuse to claim your story, someone else will write it for you. Your fears will write it. Your doubts will write it. Your circumstances will write it. And you will wake up one day realizing you lived a life that was never yours. So choose. Will you remain the background character in someone else's tale? Or will you step forward as the hero of your own? The choice is not theoretical. It is now. And the story you tell today is the reality you will live tomorrow. So write it, declare it, anchor it. Because your brain cannot resist the gravity of story. It will hypnotize you. It will pull you forward. It will carry you across the bridge. From who you were to who you are destined to be. And now, one final question remains. If story is this powerful, if story rewires the brain and bends reality, then what is the last call the universe is making to you right now? What is the ultimate message, the final invitation, the voice that demands your answer? Stay with me, because in the next section, you will discover the last and most urgent call from the universe itself. The universe is waiting for you to live, as if what you desire has already happened. Not tomorrow, not someday, now, because manifestation is not about hoping, wishing, or waiting. It is about belief fused with action. It is about embodying the frequency of the life you want so fully that the universe has no choice but to mirror it back. Ask yourself, what would change if today you walked, talked, and lived as though your dream were already real? How would your body move? How would your voice sound? What choices would you make if you knew the outcome was already guaranteed? This is not fantasy. This is the formula. Science reveals that when you live as if, your body responds in real time. Your biochemistry shifts. Your brain floods with signals of confidence and alignment. Hormones recalibrate. Nervous system patterns reorganize. Your body cannot tell the difference between a vividly lived vision and reality itself. And because your body is the antenna broadcasting to the field, your as-if state becomes the magnet for your future. But here is where it becomes undeniable. In Nashville, there was a musician no one knew. He wasn't famous. He wasn't signed. He didn't have connections, but he carried a decision. Every single day, he wrote songs as though he were already a recording artist. He played shows in tiny bars as though the arena was already full. He embodied the life he wanted before the world ever recognized him. 18 months later, the universe responded. A record deal, a stage, a career. Not because he waited for permission, but because he lived as if it were already true. And reality caught up. So let me turn this back to you. What dream are you holding hostage by refusing to live it now? What vision are you keeping locked away by waiting for external validation? The truth is brutal. If you wait, you waste. If you hesitate, you broadcast doubt, and the universe reflects that hesitation back to you. But if you live as if you embody the new self before the proof appears, the field bends. Life rearranges. Doors open. People show up. Opportunities collide with your path. Not because of chance, but because you aligned with the frequency of your desired dot. So here is your challenge. Will you dare to place your order with the universe today? Will you write it down, declare it, embody it? Right now, type in the comments what you want to manifest. Not tomorrow, not later. Now, and hit the like button as your anchor, as your declaration that you are living as if it is already true, because the danger is clear. If you refuse to act, you collapse into the weaker self. If you keep waiting, you will keep waiting. And one day you will realize the universe was waiting on you the entire time, God. So make this the moment you stop asking and start embodying. Walk like it, talk like it, live like it. Let every breath, every word, every action be a signal that says it is already mine. But let me give you one final warning. There is a trap that destroys more dreams than doubt ever could. A series of mistakes that people make when they try to manifest. They sabotage themselves without even knowing it. And if you fall into these mistakes, you will keep blocking the very reality that is already waiting for you, Dot. So stay with me. Because in the next section, we will uncover the hidden errors that cause most people to fail. And once you see them, you will never make them again. They fail because they get trapped in illusion without action. And this is the danger that swallows more dreams than fear itself. Because wishing without movement is not manifestation. It is stagnation dressed in spiritual language. Let me ask, you, how many times have you said you were waiting for a sign from the universe? How many times did you visualize but never execute? How many times did you sit in meditation while your opportunities slipped away? This is the trap. The trap of believing thought alone will save you. The trap of confusing stillness with surrender, when in reality it is avoidance. Science has a name for this. It is called spiritual bypassing. The act of avoiding your emotions, your actions, your responsibilities by hiding inside rituals and illusions. It feels like progress, but it is nothing more than escape. And the universe does not reward escape. It rewards embodiment. Here is the pattern of failure most people repeat. First, they focus obsessively on what they do not want. They declare, I don't want to be broke. I don't want to be alone. I don't want to fail. And the field, always listening, reflects back the very frequency they're sending. Second, they wait instead of acting. They pray for doors to open, but never take a single step toward the handle. Third, they cling with desperation. They want so badly that their energy reeks of lack, and the field reflects the absence, not the abundance. But there is another path. And the proof lives in a story. A Seattle entrepreneur failed 3 times. He had vision boards. He had affirmations. He had crystals lying across his desk. But no business plans, no strategy, no execution. He waited for the universe to deliver. And the universe delivered nothing until the 4th time. This time, he changed the formula. He visualized daily, yes, but he paired it with concrete steps, calls, meetings, product testing, iteration, action, and this time, the energy matched the effort. Within 18 months, the business took off. The same universe, but a different identity, because he finally embodied the truth. Manifestation is belief plus action. So let me ask you right now, are you hiding in illusion? Are you waiting for a miracle while refusing to move your feet? Are you obsessing over what you fear instead of embodying what you desire? If so, the trap has you. But you can break free. Declare it now. In the comments, share the trap you are escaping. Do not keep it hidden. Expose it. Because once you name it loses its power. And hit the like button as your declaration that you refuse to be swallowed by illusion. Because here is the truth. The universe does not bend to thought alone. It bends to coherence. And coherence is belief plus behavior, faith plus frequency, vision plus movement. That is the formula that turns energy into matter. That is the code that transforms dream into destiny. But let me give you this warning. If you keep clinging to illusions, you will wake up years from now with a heart full of regret. You will know you wasted your power, pretending you had none. And that regret will burn deeper than failure ever could. So choose differently now. Act, move, live as if. Pair your vision with relentless steps, and the universe will meet you halfway and carry you the rest of the way. Because this is not about waiting anymore. This is about building. This is about embodying. This is about becoming. And that leads us to the final question, the ultimate truth that ties everything together. If you have the power to manifest, if you have the ability to embody, if you can break free from every trap, then what remains? The final conclusion, the ultimate answer. How do you become the architect of your own life? Stay with me. Because in the final section, we will uncover the blueprint of creation itself and show you exactly how to step fully into your role as the architect of destiny. You have always been the creator. You only needed to remember and act. This is the truth you cannot escape. From the very beginning, the blueprint was inside you. The power was never lost, only forgotten. And now, after everything you have heard, everything you have felt, you stand at the edge of a new reality. Let me ask you, will you step forward? Will you finally claim the role that was yours all along? Or will you shrink back into the illusion that life is happening to you instead of through you? The formula is clear. Consciousness plus neuroscience plus action equals transformation. Awareness gives you vision. The brain gives you the wiring. Action gives you embodiment. When you unite them, you unlock the code of creation itself. Most people will hear this and still wait. Most will nod, agree, and then return to the cycle of delay. Do not let that be you, because your life is not a rehearsal. It is happening now, and the field is responding in this very moment to the signal you are sending. Let me tell you about a girl from Colorado. She was drowning in depression, suffocated by darkness, believing her life had no meaning. One night she watched a video, just like this one. At the end, the challenge was simple: to write one phrase in the comments. I choose life. She hesitated. Her hand trembled, but she typed it. And that moment became her turning point. 1 year later, she released a best-selling book about her journey through pain into purpose. She did not just survive. She transformed because she acted, because she remembered, because she chose dot. So here is your invitation. Right now, type the words I choose in the comments. Do it now, not later. This is your declaration to the universe that you are done waiting, done doubting, done delaying. And hit the like button as your signal that you are anchoring into this decision. Save this video so you never forget this moment. And share it with 3 people you love so they too can step into the truth of who they are. And do not stop there. Subscribe to this channel and turn on the bell, because every video is another step, another key, another awakening in your journey. Do not walk this path alone. Walk it with us, because this is bigger than you. This is about a community of creators rising together, remembering who we are and rewriting the future. Your voice matters here. Your story matters here. So comment your truth, your commitment, your vision. Help us grow this space into a movement that transforms lives. And as we close, let me remind you, thank you. Thank you for choosing this video among millions. Thank you for giving your time, your energy, your focus. That choice was not random. That choice was your higher self guiding you here. Remember this forever. You are not a victim of life. You are the architect of it. You are the creator. You are the signal that shapes the field. And every thought, every feeling, every action you choose is a brick in the reality you are building, Dot. So what will you build? What will you choose? What will you create now that you remember the truth? The power has always been yours, and the time is now.